Hola community, how are ya? How is it going? Welcome to Blender Today episode, who knows what episode, 127. We are here today together to learn something about Blender 292. 291 is out next week in like 10 days, 12 days. It's just around the corner. So we're just gonna be talking about 292. The big projects that happen every year, the Summer of Code, most of them, they manage to get added like on time around after summer. Some of them take longer, some of them are added like many years afterwards. But this episode today, we're gonna show a feature that was just added and it's part of the Google Summer of Code. And for that, I'm not gonna do it myself. I invited all the way from Argentina, a member of the Grease Pencil team, Matias Mendiola. Hola, Matias.
Hey, hi Pablo. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for joining today, this episode. Very special episode.
Always a pleasure talking with you and the community.
Hey, if you don't know Matias, then you are missing out on great training on the Blender Cloud and on the Blender YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, you published last year, right? The tutorials about...
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Grease Pencil. And are those tutorials outdated already, or are they still recommended? Will you still recommend it? Are you planning new?
It's mostly outdated, but still you have the basic there, so you can you can the basic stuff. Yeah, you can go and learn a lot still.
Yeah. All the basics are there, the tools are there, and what we're gonna see today is a new tool, but it's not gonna change. Like, it's not gonna you forget about how Grease Pencil works. No. This is a new addition. So okay, let's get to it, so I don't take more of your time.
Okay. Well, if you want, I show you. Let me share my screen.
Let's see.
Okay, and well, this is the character of the training we are talking about.
Yeah, okay, let's see here.
And as you said, it's a Google Summer of Code project. Well, Google Winter of Code for me.
Southern Hemisphere. Yes.
Exactly. So, well, it's basically add a new feature to editing the stroke in Grease Pencil using Bezier curve, using curve editing.
Yeah.
For Bezier, sorry. So if you go to edit mode, now you have a toggle here, just to select if you want to go for the standard way of tweaking the point of the strokes,
like one point
one point or several points at a time, but the standard way. And now if you select this and want to use the curve editing, just click on this and voila, we have the new control point.
Wow.
And handle to, I don't know.
Yeah, so to edit many at the same time.
To our character.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exactly
beefy.
The same as curve.
It's the same concept as editing a curve.
The same concept. Exactly.
And you can go back and forth between editing vertices per person.
Yeah. Because when you turn off this, you just keep the shape, but with the standard point already there. So.
And you can go enable back and forth.
Enable, exactly. You keep this, and you can control also the type of the control point. You can go for automatic, vector, or free, like the curve. Okay?
Yeah.
Again, you can use mostly all the editing in the standard editing in stroke, but for now it's still work in progress, so we don't have every single edit. For example, we don't have Shift D to duplicate the strokes if you are using this sub mode.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to the standard mode just for
duplicate
example, to duplicate the strokes.
So the shortcuts, you were pressing some shortcuts. Are they the same as in
B for just go? Well, you can use for go back and forth with the mode with U.
With U key, U. I like unwrapping.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And once you are in this mode, you can use it's the standard as curve. It's B for toggle the different mode.
V key, yeah.
Handle. Okay. And well, other thing you can do is, for example, you can select this point and press Alt S to scale, and it maintains the shape of the stroke smoothly. So it's really, really good.
Alt S, so the same shortcut.
S. Yeah, exactly. The same. You can use several points at a time. Okay.
How does it know
how the shape?
how does it know? Well, I guess this feature was developed by David Falk, which he's in the chat. David, thanks for dropping by the way. So,
exactly. That's good for Falk. It's amazing what it.
Yeah, what he did. How does it even work? Like, you select one vertex and it adds the Bezier, but how does it know how far to go? What happens if you select two or more?
It's an algorithm that take into account the other thickness of the near points and calculate the average.
The average between them. And what happens if you select everything? Like, how many points does it?
Whoa, everything.
I don't know. Okay, there.
Okay.
It's not too bad, actually.
I know, it's work.
I'm just, how does it know? Like in the belly, how does it know that it has to do 3 lines instead of?
Well, you have to ask for.
Yeah. Okay. Magic. That is magic. So this is in Blender 292. It's an alpha, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Alpha version. Well, there's also some out of the box. You can have a real nice conversion between the strokes and the curve editing one. But if you want to have more control on the accuracy, you can use this setting here that control the resolution or the angles. And also a threshold.
Is it slower than editing? Like, is it slow? Is it heavy on the computer?
I've been using a lot, and I can tell that it's not the same, but it's really I don't know. It's usable.
It's useful. Now that you have this, it's really fast. David says that it's really fast. The fastest. Faster than light?
Fastest as light.
So now you, as an artist, now that you have this tool, is there any reason, or do you see yourself going back and forth, or you use this mainly?
Well, talking with Falk, I guarantee to him that every artist will just keep this button on
all
every
the time.
Because I think. And of course, you can go for other modes. If I go to sculpt mode now, you don't have to do nothing at all. You can control again as usual. Okay.
Yeah.
And go again to edit mode, and it tries to maintain the same shape every time. So it
tries. It can fail, or
no, it's not fail, but. When you convert between standard points to this kind of control handle with handle, it's always a little different.
Yeah. Okay.
In the shape. Yeah. So you have to if you don't arrive to the right.
To what you expect.
What you expect. You can control this setting here, trying to avoid problems
going too much
on the strokes.
Well, here David in the chat says that the conversion from curve to stroke can handle millions of points in milliseconds.
So it's fast.
That's a big claim, David. Where if we see
thank you, Dave.
Anything slower than 60 FPS, we're gonna call you. I'm gonna find you. That's so cool. We have also Antonio in the chat here. Antonio Vazquez, developer of GrisPencil.
Antonio was one of the mentor of Google Summer of
Code
for this project.
That's amazing. And David is it's the first project that he works on, or no? He worked previously on other tools, right?
I don't know in Blender.
I don't know in Blender. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow, that's so cool.
I think for Google Summer of Code, it's the first one, but I don't know. Maybe some other patch.
It was his first Summer of Code.
Yeah.
What is next for GrisPencil? Are you gonna let him go, or are you gonna get him and grab him and feed him cookies?
This is the base. This is the base for curve editing, but we have planned to go a little farther with this. And of course, this is for editing right now, but we have planned to go for other tools for drawing, for example, in the future.
So you can draw with curves.
Yeah. Have something in draw mode to draw just in Bezier curves. Yeah.
And then you don't need editing per points anymore.
I think Folk is working on booleans. So maybe maybe next time
Pencil
you can have him.
Yeah. No, I will be nice to have him on board, and maybe Antonio too. Like both have.
Why not?
The developer side of things. What are you? You personally, you work on GrisPencil. You work on the GrisPencil team. You use it for work. And what is the team working on for the future? I've seen previously there was an importer being worked on. Exporter.
Antonio is working on in SVG import and export, so it will be really nice for workflow that use another software. So
is it 272, 3, 292 or 93?
Well, 93, I think, maybe.
Wow.
What else? Well, we have a new add-on also, a new add-on that official add-on for GrisPencil that we have.
Let's do you have it around there? I heard that add-on is like the equivalent of the Node Wrangler, but for
something like that, exactly. We have canvas rotation in the add-on and other great feature that speed up the workflow.
Canvas rotation
and
2D rotation.
Exactly, 2D rotation. Yeah. What else?
The box editing.
The future.
The transform cage.
The transform cage, exactly. Control T to transform cage. Yeah, I don't think I have installed here in
the add-on
in this version because
this is a development version.
File. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What else? Well, we have planned to go to improve the field tools because right now it's too related to the zoom, the camera zoom. So in the future, we have planned to use the real stroke to build the boundary of the shape of the field.
Of the field tool.
Exactly.
Awesome. Let me go to the GrisPencil section of the workboard. here is where people can follow in developer.blender.org, and I can bring you back here. Let me see if I can get you there. Oops, I'm trying to fit you on the screen. There. So the page of the Grease Pencil project, like the workboard and the code, and where we can see what's going on. The long-term roadmap says hold down material. That's already in Blender 291.
Yeah.
Image tracing already in 291. The operator that it can convert images into Grease Pencil. The
images and the sequence.
The sequence for 292.
Yeah, exactly.
Even. For people that want to check it out, go to developer.blender. Sí, yeah, that is new for sí, when I'm speaking Spanish. Sí. So, okay, Bezier editing, that's already in 292. You guys are on track. SVG import, for 292.
SVG import and SVG export, but
that was
we are still thinking about it because maybe Antonio will go to not as an add-on, as a script, but core featuring C++.
So the imported exporter.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome. Much faster that way.
Any news about line art or line PR? Or that is separate?
Well, I think it's on...
Can we share? Is it legal?
Yeah, it's on review right now, but still some things that we have to figure it out how to handle. Mostly in user interface, and still is not so clear how to use. Right now it's a modifier. It's a Grease Pencil modifier. It's a new modifier for Grease Pencil, but there is still some things that you have to keep thinking about.
Have to think about it. I think I have a build from, but I don't know how old is that, but it was a modifier, like a line modifier, line art modifier for a Grease Pencil object. So that is a connection. That is what you mean, that it has to be defined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right now you add this modifier to a Grease Pencil object and select a target or a collection, or object or a collection to use on the modifier. On the modifier
itself. Yeah, no, exactly. I think the version I have is doesn't even have that. It's probably really old.
Okay.
No, I have it, but I'm looking for the modifier and it's not even there. So it must be really, really old. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay, that's another big project.
If people at home wants to try this stuff, you can just compile the Blender, the master branch to play with the new Bezier curves. If you want files to try your Blender, you can go to blender.org/greasepencil, and that will redirect you, will take you to the Blender cloud page, so you don't have to remember the whole address. And there you're gonna find a list of tutorials, a list of blend files that you can try, and artwork, and this is the one place to learn everything about the Grease Pencil.
Learn everything.
All right. I don't want to take more of your time. Is there anything that we are missing? Yeah, that we forgot to show?
I think I think we are done with it.
I think we got everything. All right, guys. If you have any questions, Mattia is gonna stay on the chat. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. David is on the chat and Antonio is also on the chat. So if you have any questions, we'll be answering towards the later part of the show. Subdivision. People are asking for subdivision. It's not there yet. Subdividing the
subdivision for curve editing.
Yeah. Okay, but
there are a lot of edit operators that still is not there.
Okay, so the basics are there. Yeah, super exciting. What is going to happen next, because this is like the first step, deciding
for example, a smooth smooth for the handle is still not there for another ones. Yeah.
Makes sense. It's very new, very new.
Yeah, exactly. It's the base.
So cool, awesome. All right. Thank you, Matias. Gracias por
for you
passing by. Now we know everything about this. I have a few other things that I'm going to show on Grease Pencil, but I don't. It's not Grease Pencil related, actually. Some user interface. So for that, I thank you, and I move on with this.
Okay, thank you. Bye, Pablo.
See you around.
Bye.
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 I'm going to move into full screen, and I will continue with the rest, because Grease Pencil is one of those parts of Blender that you could use. You could make a whole film with 2D animation and not even use the 3D part of Blender, and that is fantastic. I really like that we can do that nowadays. That is available for everybody, and that it's part that you can add 2D and 3D, like the things that the Do's does. It's just amazing. Have you seen this tutorial? If not, you should check it out. I think it's pretty popular. 400,000 views. Yeah, there's more views than all my videos combined, so you probably seen this. But if you haven't, you should watch this. It's just amazing. It's the style that he does, but explained step by step, split into chapters. Check it out. What else? Let's change topics here. In this topic, a feature. Let's start with the blast. This is a user interface improvement that will make a lot of people happy. In fact, this feature has been asked and requested a lot, and it's implemented by Yun Mizutani from the community. It's a developer from the community that just implemented it. Add an opacity slider to overlay wireframe. Yes, it's here. It's making a lot of people happy. What you can control now is the opacity of the overlay, because right now, so far, it's only possible to control the density of the wireframe, but not how opaque it is, which is yeah, it's just two different things. People were complaining like this doesn't work well, or it's just two different things. I think we should change the labels, because they are called wireframe and opacity. And I think there's just not, this should be called wireframe density, and this is the opacity. So yeah, I think we need to somehow change that. What do you think it should be used for this, in this case? What naming? Because opacity is super useful, and the other one is also useful for when you have planar faces, like if you have a complete plane, like something that is here, for example. These faces that are plain. You want to see the wireframe, but maybe you don't want to see all the faces that are planar. So in this case, it's useful to have it. However, for organic modeling, like for architecture, this is awesome. But for organic modeling, then, or for when you start having some kind of deformations, then yeah, you get these weird issues. I think in 2.7 we managed to somehow fade. But in 2.8 that wasn't possible anymore, because the fading then wouldn't be so annoying if you was able to fade. However, I think this should be in 1 by default, and then this is now what you control. It's a bit tricky. Sometimes it has some issues that need to be solved. I think the opacity, for example, if you have it, and depends on. In some modes, it's still not, you see, it goes to white. It changes between white and orange when the opacity is in 0. So that has to be worked on. I haven't tried it yet with other vertex paint or modes like weight paint or texture paint. So you should please test it and report any issues that you may find. Let's see how this one works with red. Yeah, it goes between. What should happen here though? Should it just remove altogether, like not even blend between? Yeah, complexity. Jim says that we should name it complexity. That yeah, complexity, density, angle, threshold. Let's continue. The other feature that is okay. I think we don't have many more features. We have a few changes and fixes that make the UI nicer, such as this very nice addition by this developer that has been adding patches lately. Ivan Perevala, Ipe, made it so the HDRI, this little ball here that appears when you are in look depth mode, that if you haven't seen it, it's available in look depth mode. It's here under the viewport overlays, and you can enable HDRI preview. However, this preview, if the interface was too big, then you would see the edges, and he made it so now it's like a level of detail. So when you need it, it's gonna be more subdivided. So it's super smooth, super smooth. You know what else is smooth? Switching between sections, properties, context from the outliner. So a few weeks ago, this option where you can, if you have, for example, a modifier, you can click in the outliner icon and it will take you to the section. That makes sense. So if you click on a modifier, it will take you to the modifier section. However, there are a few modifiers that are very special. The physics ones, especially if you have, for example, a particle instance, or particle instance, no, if you have some kind of physics. So let's say if you had soft bodies, this is a modifier that shows up in the modifier stack. However, it's not very handy that it will, if this takes you to the section here of the modifiers. What is more handy is that it takes you to the physics. So hands, very nice attention to detail. Made this change with the review by Nathan, where it will take you to the right place. It will take you to the physics settings. So pretty nice. What else? I love this attention to detail little things. This one is a tool that was added in 2.91, but then it was removed from the UI and it was made experimental. So it's now experimental. You have to enable it from the developer extras, experimental, and now you can have the add object tool. Yes, it's the same one that was available some time ago by default. However, it wasn't never like really properly finished. It was, yeah, it has its issues. So let's see how it works now. You can add a cube and it's the same. However, now it has a little preview where you can see where it's gonna be applied and where it's gonna be aligned. So there are improvements being done in this tool that makes it, for example, aligned to the normals that was already there, but now you have a preview. I think it's handy. I think it could even show like a little icon or so. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I think that is all. I think that is the last feature. The last comment that I have was the show preview plane. Yes, it was added by Campbell. And that is all for this week. No, wait. I have one more announcement to make. The add-on. Yeah, it's an add-on. We don't talk about add-ons here usually. But this one is a free available add-on made by maintained by the Blender Animation Studio. We use it at the studio. It's the Pose Thumbnails add-on. So it's an add-on that allows you to see while you are when you are choosing the poses, it shows you thumbnails of the pose that you want to apply to your characters. When animating, this is a must. Even if you look at the Blender Pose Thumbnails, you will see that this add-on actually was implemented by someone in the community, but now it's maintained by the Blender guys. And here, this is what I wanted to look for, is a video where Hjalti explains how he used it. And let's see if I can make it bigger. How he used it for Spring. This was also used in the past. And this is even the older version, but now it works in 2.9. It's updated to the latest version. And what it gives you basically is this. It's a little thumbnail of each one of the poses. You can even make a custom pose and it's take a render. This background was added by him, but you can customize it for whatever you want. And ideally in the near future, this should be managed by the asset browser. You should be able to see this in the asset browser. That is one of the priorities for the studio. It's the asset browser should handle basics, right? Materials, like world objects, basic assets. But a next step after that, after the very basics, is to ease the task by the animators to apply custom poses. I'm pretty excited about that too. The thing is, browsing them is one thing, but then you need to create. So where is the interface for creating poses? This is a new editor? No. Is it something you do from the 3D view? Or is it something you do from the asset browser? Or from the, what is it, a new section altogether? What is it? What is it? Mockups, please. I think that is all for the new stuff in Blender. Let's try and answer some of the questions in this thread that Momotron 2000 made for us. 28 comments. Okay, cool. Let's see, 5 upvotes in this one. Okay, Mileporte asks in the first, I want to have the transition. Done now. Okay, ready. All right, let's see. Geometry nodes. Hi Pablo, 2 short questions. Yes, in the development of the geometry nodes project, I think that will be a real shame to lose all the work and experience gained in add-ons like GSoC or Sorcar. Will their authors be involved in some way in the development of geometry nodes? Why would it be a shame to lose all the work? It's not losing. It's not like the add-ons are going away. I don't understand why. Until now, the creation of options of an object disappear even by simple moving it. If the topology doesn't change, the construction option should remain. What are the reasons for that? Okay, the easy question first. The options disappear because when you add an object, well, the short answer is because it wasn't implemented. But the longer answer is that when you do anything in Blender, when you add an object, this is an operator. When you move, that's another operator. So when you move, you can control the operator. When you add an object, this is an operator, so you see the operator options here. But the moment you do something else, it's a different operator. And Blender can only do one operator at a time. This is by design since the very early days of Blender. So that was the short answer. It wasn't implemented. The longer answer that we can hopefully maybe in the future have this solved, because as you can imagine, it's not something very simple to do, because it's a different kind of operator. It's a different kind of action. It's an action that you can redo later, because every time you actually tweak these settings, it's like running the operator again. It's not just a tweak, it's like redoing the whole action. So yeah, it's something that is very deep inside of Blender. The geometry nodes project with the parametric modeling, and when you add a like, for example, let's see, I think I have it. I have the geometry nodes branch compiled, which I demoed last week. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. The video from last week we had, and a live even in the show. Okay, so in the geometry nodes project, basically once you add a modifier, it's a new kind of modifier. It's a modifier called empty. It's a new name. It's an empty modifier, because it used to be called nodes, but eventually most modifiers will be node based. They will be made using nodes. So having a modifier called nodes, it wouldn't make any sense. So right now it's called empty. Empty because it's a it is a geometry node that does nothing, doesn't do anything. The interaction could be better, like when you select a modifier, it could show up here. That is being worked on, but all those little features to make more easy, more friendly, they are still to do. The basics are being worked on. So when you add a modifier here, for example, a mesh subdivision surface, you are basically changing the geometry and the output in here. So in the future, there could be a modifier here that it, or a modifier, sorry, a node that is called sphere or cube. And this, imagine if this was a modifier that, let's change the name just so we can dream. This was sphere, right? And then we can control here and changing the level, and then the level would be something like, instead of level would be like rings, for example, you see, and you see it here. So it could be in the future that instead of when you add a sphere, it would add a primitive with this node set up, and you can change it from here. That would be one way of going about it. And then everybody would suddenly have this feature without having to rework the whole operator system in Blender. That would be super nice, and it wouldn't be that hard to do. The thing is, at some point, if you want to enter edit mode, maybe then it could ask you like, hey, you're entering edit mode, or do you want to apply the transformer? I don't know how other softwares do it. I don't have no experience, but if you add a sphere, then you can change the settings, the rings, the resolution afterwards. What happens when you start editing? Like if you duplicate it and deform it, do you lose? You probably lose all the editing capabilities, right? Otherwise, how does it know? Like if you start deforming it or making holes in it. I think in C4D you lose editing. In 3ds Max you have to do something else, so you'd lose it, right? I'm looking at the chat, by the way. That could be one way, and then it could tell you like, and it would, maybe you can say, hey, do you want to edit this mesh? And then it will go like blank, apply, and then you can edit this thing, something like that. So yeah, that was one of the answers. And the other question was a bit confusing, because it says that it would be a real shame to lose all the work and experience gained in add-ons like GSoC. We're all aware of these add-ons, and it's not really throwing away any work. The development of the geometry nodes, it's open for everybody to join and to be part of it. We are not hiding anything. You can go to developer.blender.org and you can see the geometry nodes project. There's things going on here all the time. There's the asset browser. The geometry nodes must be somewhere here. Well, you can go and show all projects, and you can go geometry nodes here. You can see the geometry nodes, you can see the work board, you can see what's happening, what is being done, what is being worked on. You can even go to blender.chat, and there is a channel for the geometry nodes, and you can see what we're discussing here. And you can see all the discussions. I've been working on some mockups for how the node sockets will look when the connection is broken, or for example when the connection when they can be converted from like float to color to vector. They could look like this. These are just little things that I've been working on, some mockups. But you can see the whole discussion here, and yeah, everything is open. And the work that other developers have done in nodes or in any add-ons, they are super and more than welcome to help, to join the discussion. So nothing is really thrown away. It's not like these add-ons could be added and made by default and then okay, we're done. Geometry nodes is done. The idea is that this functionality is built in Blender. It's not an add-on. It should be built in Blender, and it should be connected with other areas of Blender. So it's really, yeah, it's really something else. But yeah, there are places where they meet each other, where they and there are places where I bet like these add-ons, maybe they can't like really use the whole potential of Blender because they are add-ons and they are limited to what an add-on can do, what the API can do. So that is the advantage, and the performance maybe as well. So please get involved. These add-ons are friends, they're not enemies. We are friends. We all want a better geometry editing tools in Blender. So yes, get involved. Antoine Baga says, "Hey Pablo, is there any news about the asset manager?" Yes, you can actually, just like we were looking here for the geometry nodes, there's also one for the asset browser. So you can look for the asset browser project. Here you have the URL, 124 is the name of the number of the project, where you can read about what is going on, all the commits. You can see the workboard, you can see the tools, the whole development basically. So yeah, it is one of the 10 big projects for 2020. In terms of workflow, the potential is enormous. In any case, I actually have it compiled. I've been compiling a lot of stuff lately. So I have it, I think, asset browser, and I compiled it yesterday. I think it should be here. So okay, let's see the status of the project right now. So I have a scene here, my scene. I have a monkey, I have a cube, and I can make, let's make it a cooler cube. So we make it like this, and with like this, and then there. So I have this beautiful shape, right? Something like that. Beautiful, cool. So this will be my new asset. I'm gonna call this an asset. So this will be my amazing asset set. There you go. This asset, it needs to be created an asset, because you don't want every object to be an asset. If you have too many objects that are helpers, and they can pollute your scene. So you have to say, okay, this is gonna be this object, this group, this material, I want it to be an asset. So you can go and right click, never mind the UI, it's gonna be more easy, but now you have to go to ID data and then make asset. Once you make it, it's available now in the new asset browser editor, and there, voila, you have my asset, my amazing asset. That is awesome. So you can just add it as many times as you want. And the same with materials. You can, if you have a material for this object, for example, you can find materials here, geometry, images, environments. You can even add your own catalog. And the cool thing is that there are many different asset libraries that you can use. At the moment, there is current file, so this will show all the things that you have here in this file. However, you can also use the catalog on your computer. So in this case, I already been working with some high fidelity monkeys done here with some materials, and these monkeys are part of my my private or my local asset library that are available to all the whenever, doesn't mind what am I using, which project I'm working on, I can always access these assets, and that is pretty neat. For materials, you can also do it, I believe. So if I have this material, let's see, let's add some color to it. I believe I right click and then I can make asset. Yes. And now I should be able to see this in the shading. Yes. I think there is something with the refresh that I need to, or I can make it crash. Yeah, no, it's not available here. I swear I've seen it, and it will make a nice icon there. So what happens if I refresh? Or maybe I need to see it from a different place. Maybe I need to make it from here. Ah, there you go. So okay, so somehow you can do it from here, but it's not available. If you do it from the outliner, that's what it's implemented so far. And now if I change the color to blue, does it it's already an asset. Can I delete an asset? Yes. Oh, Geo reported failure. Okay, early stages, people. Early stages. Let's continue. However, it's being worked on, so promising. All right, next, people are pogging in the chat because of the the asset manager. Yeah, super cool. It is super cool. Come on, it's very early stages, but it's cool. Let's see if I can even apply it or crash this file. So this object, let's see if I can make an asset. Hey, I have 2 assets, and even makes a render preview. Okay, so for example, if I had a monkey, and now I'm gonna crash it. Let's add some gears. There you go, some gears with the add object add-on. And then say I want to add a material, drag, drop. Is it gonna crash? It's not. Voila, it didn't crash. Ooh la la. All right, another monkey. You're gonna have this. What happened if I add another material again? Or if I add the same, it's gonna add a new socket? No, it replaces the active socket, the active material slot. Ah, no, it changes. Okay, bug. What should it do? Should it change the active material or like, well, I don't have any of this assigned to anything. So let's say I have this area assigned to something else, to the socket number 5. If I drop the material, no, it's always changing this one. What should it do? Can you drag the other way around? Not yet, but it's planned that you can drag it from here, and then you can like, well, I'm saying no, but maybe it is possible. No, yeah, you can drag it, but it still nothing happens. Yeah, a lot of work to be done, but that's the idea. Yes, this will eventually replace the object materials list. Yes, however, the plan is to have 2 versions of the asset browser. To have one, which is this one, the full-fledged asset browser, which you're gonna have like a section here where you can change the name, the settings, add tags for searching, or favorite, or see the path, like full-on editing. And there will be a smaller version of the asset browser, which is gonna replace this thing here. Because this is very fast, but it's very limited. This could be much more powerful if we, for example, add categories, or you can choose from the different picture as is something like this, but much smaller, like the mini version of it. That would be the idea. Do it until it crash. Oh, I know how to make it crash. I can make it crash. Do you want to make it? You want me to crash it? I know because I've been using this version a lot and a long time ago. So that happens when you when you use a piece of software that is under development, heavy development, like this branch, not like Blender, but this specific branch. Sometimes you are using it in a moment in time when it's getting rewritten, objects are moving, names are moving around. So I know that for a fact that if I drop this object, this monkey here, it's gonna crash. So crash. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and look, man, no hands. I made it crash. Yay. I know it was gonna crash because that file, the monkeys, were added with a version of the asset browser from like 2 months ago. So yeah, I knew. If the developer, Julian Eisel, if you're watching this and you want this file, I can give you for 1 million pesos. All right, cool. Next question. Hi, Pablo. A few weeks back, I asked about the LuxCore render engine, and you mentioned something about talking with Juan from Bone Studio. I wanted to suggest a live stream with one of the LuxCore developers. You can find them here or here. Cool. Yeah, that would be nice. Are they up to? Not everybody is fond of having a camera pointed to their faces. Just saying. But would be great. Yeah, who are the developers? Charlie VG? Yeah, would be good. Would be cool. This week we don't have many new things in Blender actually, and it's gonna be the release next week, so probably developers are gonna be busy. So maybe it's a good moment to take a break and just talk with the developers, especially because I haven't heard from Lux. Personally, I haven't used Lux since before it was called Lux Core. Like Lux Core to me is a newer name. Before it was just Lux, I remember. But that's back then in the days where I was even using Chaffaré, just so you get an idea how old. But hey, there is a new stable release from April. Okay, still alive? That's so cool. I didn't know. Jafre, if you didn't know, it's one of the earliest and most popular back in the day, before Blender even had real tracing. Jafre had it. It was called Jafre, not Jafare, back then. I feel so old saying this. Dear Pablo, says Momotron, please don't release Blender 3 next year until some big projects are ready for big promotion, such as the Nodes project. This has to be a big release. Smaller updates should rather be to 2.94 and so on. That's a good, yeah. It's thank you for the heads up, for the advice. The Everything Nodes project will, like the very first version, the geometry nodes, the thing that I showed today, that should be in 292, which is due for release in February. So then there will be 293, and then there will be 3.0. So we are still 3 releases away from the, well, we don't count 291, from 3.0. So I think the Nodes project is gonna be in a much better shape once we sort out all the little things, and especially the user interface tweaks, like I think I mentioned in the past, like that you can click on a modifier to make it active, having some sort of context, that will also be nice. The new types, that also would be nice to have, and yeah, that there's a lot of things to sort out. Next question by Donald Radams. Hey Pablo, do you have any updates on future Mac GPU support given the new M1 chips? No, not personally, but I think we have all seen the announcement by Apple about the new M1s, how they are releasing it on the new Mac Mini, new MacBook Pro, and new MacBook Air. This is super exciting, and what's more exciting is that Apple, I think I have it in my Twitter of BlenderToday. Let's see if I have it. I had a video cropped from when Apple announced. I don't have it here. From when Apple, let's see, BlenderToday, Twitter, Apple, they announced here. This one. This is super exciting. Look here. This is from June. Is the second, I think, announcement where they introduced for the first time the Apple Silicon.
We're also passionate about making sure that open source projects thrive on the Mac, especially if they benefit the larger software developer community and can help accelerating the port of other software packages.
Such as, look. These softwares, in an announcement by Apple, they said that they would support these projects like Chromium, OpenCV, OpenEXR, PixarUSD, Blender, Python 3, those. And they say like they would like to support this project. And then here.
Already done the initial work for some of the more widely used open source projects to help the community get started. And we'll be publishing patches to them in the
wait. Did I hear correctly?
Packages. So we have already done the initial work for some of the more widely used open source projects to help.
They, as in Apple, we have already done the initial development
done the initial work for some of the more widely used open source projects to help the community get started.
More widely used. And they highlight a few: Qt, Chromium, Mono, SS2, Neon, and Blender. That is super, super promising. So it means that now the Blender developers don't have to focus on it like the Blender Foundation ones, but rather Apple would do. And they will provide their who's the better developers to work on it than the Apple developers themselves. And the fact that they highlight Blender here as one of the projects they are working on, it's super, super promising. So isn't that nice? Yeah, super nice. All right, I think I'm already past the time, so let's do 5 more questions. Yep. Let's see. So Viadvena says, hi Pablo, looks like developers completely forgot about particle info shader node for Eevee, which is essential for motion graphics. Please, let's make Eevee great for motion graphics. It's not like they forgot. It's like you could say that about anything else that they forgot. They are currently working, the Eevee developer, one of them, the one that made Eevee, he's working on Vulkan migration, so it's focused on that. So can't do everything, right? It has to, like, Eevee sounds huge, but it was really made by the one person. It's like the core features, and then more developers are contributing, like Jeroen Bakker, the developer that worked on the compositor in the past and the workbench. He is now working on Eevee stuff, especially the Cryptomat and custom passes for Eevee. So once that is done, maybe the particle info shader could be worked on. There's also the fish eye that should also arrive at some point on Eevee. There is so much work to be done. It's not like they forgot. It's just, yeah, there's a lot to be done. A lot of work to be done, but you can help by joining the Blender Development Fund. Join 5,118 people to make Blender awesome. Let's continue here. Let's see. So question number 4 by Chris. Hey Pablo, do you have any news about SVG import and cutout tools? Also, is there any plans for better anti-aliasing support? The SVG import, we just talked about it with Matthias, and he mentioned that SVG import and export will be part of future, not 291, but 292 possibly, or 293, depends. 292, there's still some time left. There's still 1 month left of adding new features, but yeah, stay tuned. Remember, you can always follow anything and everything of Blender related development on developer.blender.org on here on the grease pencil section. Let's continue. The next question by Helga. Hi Pablo and Dalai. I will say hi to Dalai. Hope you're doing fine. Thank you. I hope you too. Sorry for being a little confusing 2 weeks ago. What I wanted to ask was this. Calculating a heavy modifier takes time. A few minutes in my case. Big mesh, exact boolean, self-intersection, yes. If I apply the modifiers afterwards, it takes time again, another few minutes. However, if I extract the mesh evaluated via Python, the modifier isn't calculated again, and I can use the mesh right away. Do you know what causes the difference? Maybe this could be sped up. Yeah, I don't personally know why. I maybe suspect that running the Python operator doesn't perform all the updates that a modifier does. Maybe when you update the modifier, it's also like changing the frame, or like updating the frame, all the dependencies of the meshes, the depth graph, a lot of safety checks and stuff that are done via when you press the button, that are maybe skipped when you just evaluate the mesh. Maybe you should pull the mesh from via Python. When you do it via Python, usually you should do the one task, like, and when applying, usually it's a lot more secure, more safe Maybe there are safety checks. Is the mesh okay? Is all the objects that depend on these meshes are fine? What to do with all the UVs? What to do with all the materials? Or yeah, I don't know personally, but maybe it's one of those things that are just overlooked. I don't know personally. If there's any developer around looking, maybe it's a good one to investigate. See, what does the apply button do that is not done via the mesh operator? Question number, how is it? 3? Dr. Isaac. Hello, Pablo. How are you doing? Doing great. Have 3 short questions and 1 big question. All right. Is it possible to control the size of the object axis that is displayed in the viewport? No, it's not. What about the official network renderings? It's coming back anytime? I'm not sure. I haven't read any news regarding that, unfortunately. I think the only reason why it got removed is just it wasn't maintained. For 2.8, when moving to 2.8, many add-ons were just disabled because they were not maintained. Even the OBJ add-on or the 3ds Max import or export format, that was importer. That was basically, it was a call saying like, hey, who wants to maintain this add-on? Nobody showed up, so it was removed. Probably the same with the official network rendering add-on. That's a problem with add-ons. If they're inside of Blender, like not an add-on, but if it's a feature inside of Blender, there are more chances that it will survive the pass of time. Whereas an add-on, not so much if it doesn't have a maintainer. And would love the NLA receive love in the near future. Yeah, have you checked the changes for the release notes in 291? The NLA, animation and rigging, has multiple updates. Here, nonlinear animation NLA editor. Sync length no longer moves animation keys around. The NLA system now evaluates the strip based on the action bounds if it's flagged for syncing. Now the animator can freely insert and modify keys outside the strip bounds. They will never have to touch the strip bounds directly. Changing the evaluation bounds is as simple as moving the keys around. Then, what else? Non-active strips are no longer gets hidden when entering edit mode. Yeah, that was an annoyance that is now fixed. So deactivated upper strip noise still shown while in tweak mode. Before it would get hidden back and forth as you go in and out of edit mode, and it was super confusing. Not anymore. So yeah, the NLA is getting love. Got love actually. This feature that I'm talking about is 291, which is the release coming out in less than in 1 week, in 10 days. And for 292, is there anything already? There is user interface changes, bake action, and that's as far as it gets. But the animation team, module team, are working on cool stuff, so you should also check out that. In developer.blender.org, go to the animation and rigging section here on the right and read more about like workboard. I'm gonna see the list of things, short term, long term. Here we can just do NLA maybe. NLA to do processing. NLA. Yeah, there is love coming. Let's see. I'm running out of voice, and that was many questions. Let's do. Okay, let's finish this one. Big question. What about improving the file browser? I'm not talking about super crazy features, but to at least separate paintbrush alphas and actual textures I use with nodes. Wait. This is improving the file browser. Okay, that's one thing when you browse files. And then you mentioned something about paintbrush alphas and actual textures I use with nodes. That's more of the asset browser side of things. However, this is kind of related because once we have the asset browser, it's gonna solve our lives. It's gonna make our lives so much better. In the past, whenever there was something that it required like a big change, I remember at the studio and everybody online, we were joking like 2.8 is gonna solve everything. I don't know, Blender, whatever happens, 2.8, faster rendering, 2.8. well, now everything goes into the asset browser bucket. Better pose library 2.8 asset browser. Better file browser management, brush management. That is a big project that it will be tackled relatively soon. But it's in the agenda for soon, as in the upcoming, before 3.0, before Blender 3, to improve and manage all the brushes much better. And when I mean all the brushes, I mean painting, sculpting, grease penciling. Let's see. Okay, now I have some for my voice. Last question. Nuno Conceição. Hi Pablo. Why isn't it possible to remove the confirmation on delete keyframe on both graph editor and the dope sheet? This just gets in the way when working on animation, especially cleaning up. That is X and delete both seem to do the same for consistency's sake. When deleting an object by pressing delete key, there is no more confirmation. I would expect the same could be done for the keyframes. I mean, delete should just delete the keyframe without confirmation. What do you mean? Let's see. Is it that one of the things? Have you tried editing the actual key map? So, for example, here, if I have a keyframe, I delete it. No, because it's actually deleting. It's bringing this pop-up, and you want to get rid of this. Okay, let's see. We're in the timeline. Let's see if we can do it with the key map. Because in other parts of Blender, you can actually do that. If you do like delete, and let's go into the animation editor, dope sheet. Is it here? Yes. Oh, they don't have a confirmation button. Unlike the in the viewport or in the object mode, when you delete, when you press X, you have this option, which is you press X or delete and it asks you to delete. In the 3D viewport, you can disable here the confirm, and now I just press X and it will delete right away without a confirmation. And this is actually what I was hoping to see in this operator, in the animation operators, but apparently it's not possible. No, channels delete, no, delete. No, they don't have a confirmation. Yeah. Feature request. Poke the Blender developers for the animation channel. Go to the animation channel on Blender chat. Blender.chat/channel/animation module. Yeah. I think it's in the home page. Is it called home? Yeah, it's called home, and their animation #animation or animation module. Yeah, go and get in touch with the guys. They are super nice. All right, that is all for today. I already way past the time. 1 hour 10 minutes. What a show! What a show! I put something bright on the screen so I can move into full screen. And how are ya? How is it going? How's the chat going? How was it today? Do you have fun? How do you learn anything new? Are you excited for Blender 2.91 next week? I'm excited mainly just to see what people are going to do with 291. If they are already doing all of this crazy stuff with 290, and I want to see what, like, the trace images option, and what are the big news in 291? Sculpting, yeah, a bunch of sculpting stuff. This is what I'm looking at. Yeah. What are you most excited about? Here, I'm gonna send you the link so you can check out the new stuff coming. The volume object, the mesh to volume modifier. Oh, today Andy was sharing with me a video that he made for the release notes. Maybe we can have it as a spoiler for today, and then I can live with that. Let's see if I can find it. It was super cool. It was here. Let's see if I can find it. Have you tried it like personally at home? The conversion between here. This is this. Let's check it out. Look, volume to mesh. This feature, it's in 291. It's coming out next week. It's already available in the beta, but allows you to take a smoke and make it into a mesh, and then voila, you have a mesh that you can add a material. You can make NPR, non-photorealistic rendering with it. You can do crazy stuff. Look, nice, isn't that crazy? Imagine this with like land PR or with like grease pencil on top. It's epic. That is so nice. This demo by Andy, you can check out. Look at that. Andy, by the way, he's the one that made the tornado in Cosmos Laundromat and all the physics in pretty much every open movie, but more recently Spring, for example. You should check it out. Check it out his profile in artificial. Twitter.com/artificial3D. You see post. And a little spoiler alert about this film that I just talked about. Can you guys guess which open movie would have been this project about if it wasn't cancelled? I'll leave you with this to think about while I retire. I'm gonna be doing Blender today in Spanish now, by the way. Blender Hoy. It's a different channel. YouTube.com/Blender Hoy. See you there. I'm gonna be doing it in Spanish, but it's just gonna be about the same thing. Yeah, somebody guessed it right in the chat. That was a film. I'm gonna leave you. No, it's not Elephant's Dream. It's not Elephant's Dream. It's not the glass half Caminandes. It's something else. I will see you again. Oops. Next week, same place, same time, with more Blender Today live. Thank you. Gracias. Obrigado. Merci. Arigato. Tak. Danke schön. Danke well. Running out of options. Пока!